Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. This video today is going to be on us making an adventure. We're going to use the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master and sort of its checklist to do so. So we'll be using this right here. This book is applicable to any RPG, tabletop RPG, but it's mostly already set up flavored for fantasy. So you would just have to pull the fantasy elements, throw your sci-fi elements, pull the whatever those are, whatever elements are already in it, just pull those out and throw in the elements you want. If you want horror, put horror in it, so on and so forth. So if you have a copy, we'll be on chapter 11, which is just kind of like an overview of notes that's already made as it walks you through the book. And we're just going to go through the list, and as I come up with ideas, I'll be writing them down and talking to you about them. So the first thing you want is a strong start. So let's say I'm going to run this for a first level party. So party level, I'll make a note of that. Party level 1, we'll say 4 to 6 PCs. Could be more in the games I run, but we'll just do that for a reference point. So that's our reference point on what we're running this for. So I'll be doing Pathfinder 1E, and I'll put equal to D&D 3.5. Because if my players want to play things out of Eberron or out of Faerun or whatnot, I would allow it. So we want to start with a strong start. So what are we going to do for our strong start? Let's see, party, do they start knowing each other? Not important for the strong start. Do they start together? That is important for the strong start. So we'll start them together. And it needs to start with action. Think all your James Bond movies. So we want some sort of action right off the beginning. So what do we want? I'll use one I've used many times before. We'll say the party is in a caravan. And the strong start's going to be it's under attack already. What's attacking it, we don't need to know yet. We'll come back and add that in. Potential scenes. We might not have a lot of potential scenes to start with, but as we spark other ideas, we can go back and add more. I'm looking for myself at least three ideas per thing we go into after the strong start. So for potential scenes, I want at least 3 scenes, maybe as many as 7. Secrets and clues is after potential scenes. So and secrets and clues is what's going on in the background. What do I know that the party can discover, that the party can use later, things of that nature. You're going to want fantastic locations as the next option. NPCs, monsters, and magical items. So we'll go with NPCs. Just list them, list their occupation. I would start listing what they are, who they are, without giving them a name, and then I'd go back and give them a name. And that would depend on how many I need total. So I'm going to leave a lot of space. So monsters. Let's see, I already know I want to use orcs. So the first thing I want to write down is orcs. So they're probably what's attacking the caravan. But what do the orcs have under them? What are they controlling to aid them in numbers? Well, it's always fun to have the party be able to kill a whole bunch of goblins. So we'll go with goblins. But I don't want to use regular goblins. So let's go in and go minions. So the party just has to hit a goblin to drop a goblin. The orcs will have regular orc stats. So when I'm looking at challenge ratings, the goblin challenge rating isn't accurate. If a spell goes off, a goblin uses its save DC, but it has if it makes it, it survives versus it takes whatever damage and goes down because it only has 1 hit point. Okay. Magic items is the last category. It's always fun to find magical items when you're exploring places and doing things. So potential scenes, caravan under attack. So we'll go open field. We'll go chase. Say the party gets onto one of the wagons, or all the party gets onto wagons, or frees the horses and gets on them. There'll be a chase where the orcs try to chase them down. So what are the orcs riding? I have 2 ideas for that. Let's go with dire wargs or dire wolves or dire warhogs. So they're either riding giant wolves or they're riding very angry pigs. The goblins will be riding goblin dogs. But I'll also treat those as minions. So now we got a variety of things for the party to deal with. And it's not everything I'm going to include, but that's a start. So there's a chase possibility. Let's go with river crossing. Better yet, let's put that under fantastic location. Okay, so river crossing, I'm thinking of like a ginormous tree. Think of a redwood from California area. One of those giant redwoods lying across this big river. And another option is maybe it's still living. If it's living, maybe it has a choice on who crosses it, or maybe it just gets annoyed people are crossing it. So that could add to the hazard. Another potential scene is that the party gets defeated. Even though you don't want to plan it as that, it is a possibility. So if the party, say, surrenders or the party all gets dropped, they could become prisoners. If you put them as prisoners, take away their stuff, yes, but do it in an understandable way. Well, you all failed, so now you're prisoners. But these are still orcs and goblins, so even though they have you prisoners, their best bet is they got you tied up with some ropes. They've taken your stuff, but they don't have any other precautions they could take besides maybe put you in a wooden prison cell. Maybe if they acquired it, some bars, so on and so forth. So give them plenty of options to escape. So Why are the orcs attacking? This would be under secrets and clues. Orcs are seeking sacrifices to appease a demon. Another secret and clue, the shaman or the clerics of the orcs controls the tribe. The orc leader wants full control of the tribe. So those two are butting heads, and the party could figure that out with a little bit of talk here and there. Fantastic location. Let's say the orcs tribal campground. Also, ritual site. Just for making it easier to deal with, we'll say the rituals happen at the full moon. So they need to keep their captives alive long enough to get to the full moon. So if the party is taken prisoner, you could say a couple of days went by. You could have them roll dice for that. So many days went by, maybe they've been beaten up a couple of times, and just kind of tried to keep them cowed is what the orcs are trying to do. And now they got reason why they can get out of here. Or you could put the full moon closer to the time, and if somebody understands goblin or orc, you could have a conversation go on nearby and they can discover this. So under NPCs, we'll go with orc leader. We'll go with an orc lieutenant. Maybe he led the charge on the caravan, or maybe there's another lieutenant. Say, especially if the party defeated the one that's on the caravan. We'll go with a goblin. We'll go with a goblin captive in case the party takes one. We'll go with an orc captive. And for those, I just list names beside when it happens, because those aren't guaranteed that this is what the party's going to find. And those would say they're not the leaders or the lieutenants. So there's going to be a goblin leader, and the goblin leader opposes, so this will be under secrets and clues. Goblins are looking for a way to freedom / revenge on orcs. They're just not strong. So the goblins are looking for a way for that. So fantastic locations. So ritual site. Let's go into more detail. Better yet, let's use standing stones. like Stonehenge. Okay. Do a giant graveyard as another location. A maze-like cave could be another one. Let's say the maze-like cave has medicinal and glowing mushrooms. We'll say the goblins run the cave. This will be under secrets and clues. The goblins run the caves often. But they haven't explored it thoroughly. Okay. So what would the orcs do if they don't manage to capture anybody? Maybe they sacrifice some goblins. Maybe they try a few more raids to their nearby town. So we'll go potential scenes, town raided. By orcs and goblins. If that happens, the goblins are more desperate. So let's make a note of that. Because they know if they fail, they'll be sacrificed. Might not be all of them, but they don't know who would be picked. So. Okay. So under monsters, we'll put shamans, the orc shamans. So they'll have druid or cleric levels. And that would represent their spell list. I want to put something in there that's not related to the orcs and the goblins. So let's go. A gray render. Territory. And it'll be territorial, but not hostile unless it's defending its territory. Secrets and clues. The maze caves. We'll come up with a better name later, but the maze caves used to be used by a kingdom for trials of heroism. magic items could still be there. Let's list a couple magical items real quick. So, bag of holding. And it'll just be a bag of holding one. Magic weapon. And right now, the magic weapon is just a +1, but it could be more. I would just let the party know that when you detect magic, it's magical. Unless you spend time identifying it and you're successful, just treat it as a +1 magical weapon until its effects activate or you get it identified. So, what are other things they could find? Magic shield. A wand with 1d, well, we'll make it 2d6 charges left. We'll go with a couple of scrolls, so we'll do 1d4 scrolls. Under monsters, we'll add undead and golems. So we'll go skeletons, zombies, and then we'll add golem. And it'll be a very injured golem. So if the party is too outclassed to deal with it, they can retreat. But since they're level 1, most golems will be way too powerful. If they do manage to defeat it, it's mostly going to be the fact that it has maybe up to 10 hit points. And it's not going to be a bad thing. It's still going to be challenging as hell for them to defeat a golem. I'd go through before they were in the maze dealing with this thing and figure out what it actually is, type-wise. And maybe it's guarding the one of the magical items and some treasure. Or it's guarding all these magical items because these are the past heroes that never got past it. There might be other ways into the old treasury for the reward for the hero quest, but if they are, they've maybe collapsed since then. So he is the only way through now. So wands, scrolls. We'll do some, that would be it of magical items, because I'm thinking potions, but if there's potions, whatever's in there, unless they were killed outright, would have used the potions, or if the goblins even got close to anything that had potions, they would take the potions. So the potions are gone. And there, right now, is enough to probably run a game for a long time. I'd go back as you ran this and look under your potential scenes, look under your secrets and clues, because potential scenes, you could add more. When you deal with people in town, maybe there's bounties, you could add that stuff in, so on and so forth. So you could expand this greatly. You could add NPCs that they're dealing with in town. So you could look at this and then say they want to go to the maze, but they didn't get to the first game. Well, now they can go to the maze. You could take the maze and you can break it down with secrets and clues itself, potential scenes for it, fantastic locations in the maze for them, and you could just expand it and give them at least 3 different encounters each, 3 different secrets and clues or more, 3 different fantastic locations inside there, so on and so forth. One of which would probably be where the golem is. Maybe that room is very different than the rest, so on and so forth. So this is how I use the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master to design an adventure. Now, I didn't do anything challenge-wise or encounter-specific-wise. I'd either ad-lib that on the fly, or I'd go back and build those encounters. If I use Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master in this way, I usually just build them all on the fly. So, because I know that a party could take 1 work per party member, but at first level, not necessarily all at once. So you might want to do half the amount of orcs per party member. Now, goblins have 1 hit point. You don't want to surround the party with too many goblins, because then they're going to destroy the party quickly, because it's just the number of the attacks they get. Even though the party might have decent armor versus the goblins would still get to roll twice as many dice if there's 2 on each player. So play around with that just a little bit, tweak it. Maybe if the goblin's riding a goblin dog, maybe they fail the ride check, so that the dog gets to attack, but the goblin does not, because he's just holding on for dear life. Or he makes the ride check, but the goblin dog gets distracted. So the goblin's balanced and makes his 1 attack, but the dog doesn't attack. Now with the orcs, putting them on wolves or dire warthogs, the party would have to figure out how they're dealing with that individual. If I was using a bunch of them, I wouldn't have the whole group chase the party. I'd have a handful, maybe half the party in number, chase them, but I'd reinforce them with the goblins that are all minions, so that way their numbers are big, but the party can deal with it. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. If you like this use of the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master to design sort of an adventure layout, then I recommend purchasing the book. Well, until we all meet again, guys.